Good day, good buddies. Just the boys this evening, me and Stu. Hi, Stu.
All right, Chris, how you doing, man?
Not bad at all, not bad at all. You know, work, baby. But other than that, looking forward to talk about TTRPGs with my good friend. What about yourself?
Yeah, all good, man. All good work. No baby for me, but, you know, I get some sleep at night still.
Well, count your blessings while you've got on me. That comes for us all. Don't know if you can see my new shirt that I'm showing off to everyone. Can finally fit in Temu double XL shirts that I've bought like 5 and they've been far too tight because they're sold as 2XL, but they're probably smaller than a L here.
You're just too hench for them, mate. Too hench. That's it.
Yeah, I work out once a week. Sometimes. Twice. You're not quite into it though, aren't you, mate? You seem to do it quite a lot. Unless you just say you're doing it and you're not actually doing it.
No, I do. I like to go 2 or 3 times a week, kind of thing. I've got no excuse, mate. You know, I'm just by myself, kind of thing. My gym's literally across the road. I can see it from my window, so zero excuse for me.
Excellent. Let's not say which gym it is in Docks, yeah. Other gyms are available. all gyms, go to a gym. Gyms are good for you. So, tonight, Stuart, me and you, we're peeking behind the DM screen, because you and I, we are both semi-experienced DMs.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah, and it's, I say, compared to playing, it's a completely different world. One I'd recommend everyone tries out at some point, but there's definitely a lot of things about it that is quite different to being on the playing side.
Very different. I mean, having to manage the spotlight is the whole thing, like giving everyone a fair whack. You know, when you're a player, you want to take all the turns, but you have to realise that, you know, other players exist and they want to take a turn too.
That's it, and you've got to keep everyone entertained as well, because everyone's there for one reason at the end of the day, and getting people to stay focused can be harder, especially, you know, those with ADHD and whatnot who like to play.
Yeah. I was telling someone else today, I'm struggling on both sides because I've got ADD and I'm a DAD, so concentration's at an all-time low.
So you really need to get that what do you call it, focus kind of thing locked in with some kind of interest there, don't you?
Yeah, exactly, which is at the minute I'm playing with some of my baby socks. Look how
socks, just keep them hand stimulated.
Yeah, they make good fidget toys, I found. They're perfectly finger-sized. Don't worry, they are really dirty and really stinky too, so be glad that you can't smell them.
So I'm glad I don't have to touch them, I don't have to smell them. Yeah.
So, what's our first question, Stu?
So basically, first off, is kind of, general DM experience. So, you know, Chris, obviously you're our DM mainly on this channel, is that, but, you know, a bit more about that and a bit about how else you've DM'd. So,
I was brought into the hobby by, I'm sure a lot of people as well, Critical Role, and actually Team 4 Stars, The Unexpectables, and a couple of other live plays way back in 2016, 2017, and I really wanted to play. So I actually played, I think I've said this on a video before, I played 4th edition online at university when I was a closeted nerd, and it was difficult because it was online, it was with strangers, and I didn't really enjoy it, and so I put off playing. I really wanted to play. It's not like I was being asked to play loads. No one was asking me to play. No one was talking about it. So I finally got up the nerve to ask some of our friends who were still involved with us in this thing if they wanted to play. And they were like, yeah, they were going to play it. I was like, well, I guess one of us needs to, you know, run the game, be a DM. And so I volunteered myself, and that was early 2018. And I've been pretty much a forever DM since.
Well, we'll get you out the other side, mate. Don't want to be a forever DM kind of if you can, you know.
Well, I had a brief reprieve. I played in Will's game. That's how me and Will became friends. We met at work, and then he was like, we were talking about videos, then we were talking about D&D, and he was like, do you like D&D? And I was like, hold on. And I went and got my wallet from my bag, and it's a D&D wallet. And he was like, do you want to play? I was like, yeah, I want to play. And then again, we had an argument about who was going to DM, and I was like, I've only ever DM'd. Please let me play. Just let me play. So yeah, I did play for a year in his game, so that was really nice. What about you, Stu? Are you a forever DM, or obviously we play together now? So you
Yes, I'm kind of the other way around as such. So I say I was kind of once again at university was very much that for most of the time was a very closeted nerd kind of thing as well. And it seeped out more and more as I got through uni. And then through a Pokemon Go chat actually.
Nice.
It's brilliant. We were talking and there was a group of many people, a few people went to uni with us. And we were talking about D&D, but we meant dinner and dance. And other people picked up and thought we meant D&D, the board the tabletop game.
Yeah.
And then that sparked into, hold on, do you want to play it? Hold on, do you want to play it? And then we did, and a friend of a friend helped us DM, and that got me really into it. And then a couple other friends started jumping in. And I for a long while, I did do that whole, I'll sit back because my friends are really keen to do it and I want to keep playing kind of thing. And didn't really jump forward quickly. Until some other friends were kind of like, oh, I've got this group who had never played before kind of thing. Would you be able to help us? And I was like, you know what, this is a good chance to go behind the screen, to create my world, to put my images out there kind of thing. And that's what I did, yeah. So I kind of took this, and it was started off with a couple of one-shots kind of thing. It was that, and it was in person initially as well, which I absolutely loved. Just like the table, the literal screen itself, so blocked up, and just being like, this is my realm kind of thing, And I say I've gone back to playing. I say I'm in your campaign, obviously, and another one, but I'm keen to get back properly into it. I do enjoy the stories where you DM and you come back later and people have got the same characters, it continues. Just the nature of different styles of gameplay, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think I really enjoy it. I enjoy the fact I can do both sides, so I'm not, distancing myself and forgetting what it's like to be a player or be a DM.
Yeah. Literally playing both sides of the screen. Being behind the screen, being in front of the screen. It's great.
That's it, man. And yeah, same
you mentioned the styles there, because I believe we're going to talk about DM styles, aren't we? How would you define yourself as a DM? Would you say you're an over prepper? Would you say you're a seat at the edge of your seat DM?
I'm an over prepper. I especially when I do my one shots, because I want to tell that story. I always overrun when I do a one shot. If I say it's going to be a 4-hour play, it's probably 6 hours or more. I think the first one I did started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We finished at midnight.
You've got to leave time for the obligatory shopping spree, the arguments, and then reconciliations, where you just sit back and let them take place. It's all part of it.
That's me, and it's saying I over prep in the sense that if we're at a crossroads and the big scary castle where the princess has been taken to is directly ahead, I will also make sure that the direction left and the direction right are also very much accounted for.
Of course.
Just in case the party decides, you know what, let's go a completely different route.
Consider if the Goliath in the party wants to throw the halfling in the party for 5 miles in one direction, where are they going to end up? That's important.
Where are they going to land? You can't just say you hit a dome and bounce right back to where you were.
Yeah, you've reached the edge of the map, it fades out of view. Do you have a sign saying not loading? Go back where you came.
Be like Assassin's Creed or something, where undiscovered area memories not found yet, you have to return.
Yeah, like that area's not found. Memories not found.
What about yourself, Chris?
Well, I started as a massive over prepper to the point where I actually started writing a story in like a Lord of the Rings style world when I was like 14, and I've kind of just been building out that world since. And so the map that we're playing in currently is part of that. It was in the land of Gowlin Roth. I like the sound of the word. It's not got any significant meaning. It's a bit smaugy. It's quite dragon focused. I like dragons. Who doesn't? It's a bit scary. So I started with the world before I started with friends to play D&D with. I mean, obviously I had friends, but they were all drinking sporty friends, and I never had true nerdy friends. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent already. But when I was that age, I did have nerdy friends, and then I thought, oh, I've got enough to ditch my nerdy friends. It'd be cool now. And that was a stupid thing that I did then, because I've obviously reconnected with those and not really kept up with the. But
joys of being a teenager, mate, isn't it? Kind of thing. You don't know what you look back now. We all look back at our teenage years and kind of face palm and go, really, really? Oh, okay. We did those things.
But the past is the past. But in the present, I adopt a much more edge of the seat and go with what the players want and try and put the players at the focus. Think, what would they like to do in this session? How can I accommodate that? Have a few NPCs, a few twists on classic tropes prepared in certain locations that trigger if they pass certain checks and stuff, but fill in the blanks and the things that they wear, and have like rolling tables for names and things, and just it's all pretty much pun based. Just like the names of inns which are puns and stuff, like come in and stuff, We literally the inn that you're spending most of your time is just called a good pub, but it's spelled GUDPUBB, so it's it's really, really clever. And I definitely didn't just come up with that on the spot when you were like, oh, I want to go to the pub. Okay, there's one.
It reminds me of my friend who's running a campaign. He called the first kind of pub we went to in the first village was called the Stumble Inn.
Nice.
And it was uneven ground at the entry point, and we all had to do a dexterity save on entry, and if you failed, you stumbled. And then you got a raucous cheer for the pub. Yeah, the classic way kind of thing, which it took a couple of us a second to go, oh, really? But that's part of being a DM, isn't it? The brilliance to drop those bits in. Yeah. It's interesting you brought up today that your the world we're currently playing with you is your own map from your own creation. Because it's one of the things I find the beauties of being a DM is there is so much versatility. So, for example, Wizards of the Coast have so many kind of single campaign, single one-shot structures for you to follow that you can follow to the book. You can adapt slightly so it's how you want it to be in their setting of the world, or you can go and create your own castles, create your own dungeons, dragons, homebrew your own beast, or bring in all the existing beasts but in a mix you want.
And they have that lovely Creative Commons license where you're able to do that somewhat. There's still rules that you can't break and make things and then publish them, but you have the license as a DM and as a player to make the game entirely your own, and it's great that they do so. And I do like.
Yeah, I know.
I know Will has run a module, and I think after the first session went completely off page. I ran a module and stuck to the module for like the first 3 chapters and then went completely off page. So even when you have you buy a module to near your dragons or whatever, a lot of the time your players will guide you in a completely different direction that the book doesn't account for, and that's part of the game. What makes it brilliant, what makes it unique to everyone, isn't it?
I'll say I think my favourite play has probably actually been the first time I DM'd. I kind of went very kind of linear with my own world story, but very much, here is your mission. There's a small village, there's only one real place you can go. There's a bit of a challenge to get there, and then at the end there was a vampire to challenge, but on beating the vampire you realise they weren't the real bad guy, and then actually there was a black dragon. And the party through that, I was very much thinking, I don't know if they're going to make it to the vampire at this point, let alone the dragon. But as soon as the vampire came in and they were in the throne room with him, the teamwork just went from non-existent to, and all the vampire did for 3 rounds was go, wait, what's going on? As they just pinned him in place, peppered him, covered each other, pinned him in place, and it was just. I went, hold on a second. I'm gonna have to make this dragon harder to kill.
A symphony of teamwork. That's what you want as a DM, isn't it? Sometimes you want to just sit back and think, wow, that was really clever, and I'm glad you did that.
Oh, so you do, because then you sit back and when you see them all working together and you've done something that's made them switch on, see a challenge, enjoy it, and dive into it. And that's what you really want as a DM. That's when you feel satisfied, when it's like, I'm making you challenge and have to go and actually process everything properly to really dive into it.
Because I know there are some adversarial DMs who would get upset if their vampire doesn't, destroy everyone in the party, but I've never actually come across one in real life. Only on, Reddit message boards have I seen these kinds of people. They must exist. Otherwise, there's like some collective psychosis in the community where they've invented these really negative, harsh adversarial DMs. But if you are one and you're watching, play a game with us. I really want to see if you could actually hold it up when people are having in-character conversations that span 10 to 15 minutes and everyone's invested in asking questions. Can you actually get to the point where you're like, if I don't kill these people, I'm going to have had a bad day? I don't think you could. It's like with the Dark Age thing from when we were talking about Baldur's Gate. Like, if the game's really good and all these characters are really interesting, do you want to murder them all?
That's what I find I struggle with when I play Dark Age. I'm like, I don't really want to get rid of you, kind of thing. But am I playing this character as it's meant to be? Do I want to play this character as it's meant to be, or can I play it in a different way? Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned kind of like, these different DM styles and people, how they behave in that sense as well, kind of thing. Because, like, how would you adapt your style based on the party in front of you, kind of thing? If you're, say, for example, you've mentioned people like, say, myself, who've known you for 10 years or so, or someone who's just rocked up to the table day one, kind of thing.
Well, that's a really interesting question, and I know I have had to adapt. My play style of seat of the pants, prep as you go. When I found myself having to plan for the mine stream, I really wanted to plan the minutiae of that, just to make sure it had the right tone and it had the right vibe and all the characters had the right level of trauma or psychosis which informed their actions. But I also didn't want to present just 3 of the same egotistical bullying characters. I wanted to do different aspects of things. So I did find myself planning pretty much daily for like an hour within a couple of weeks leading up to it, and just usually whenever the inspiration struck me, writing some notes down and then considering those notes. And then a lot of the time when my baby boy was napping was when I just cracked on. So I ended up putting a lot of prep time into that. But then when I'm playing with you guys at home, it is just write down funny stuff, say here's a picture with a question mark on it. Oh, that's where the slavers are, and the slavers are 3 kobolds in a trench coat. Because why not? But if I was playing with strangers, you obviously, do you want to do a session 0 and be like, what are you comfortable with? I think you always have to. And if you're going to play with people I'm sort of friends with but never gamed with before, I'll probably try my very best to explain everything which is happening, make sure they're comfortable with everything that's happening, make sure they understand their own character through the whole game. So, do I have a fixed DM style? I don't think I do. I think I do very much go with the needs of the table, or I try my best to. What about yourself?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it, I say, because at the end of the day, as the DM, the first thing we want to do is we want our friends and players to be able at the end of the session to say, thank you, I really enjoyed that session and want to come back next time.
And give us snacks.
And snacks, they need to bring snacks. That's
that was really good, have a chocolate chip cookie. That's like rock hard erections, right?
I mean, you're kind of saying it like a pet treat kind of thing, like, oh, that was really good, have a cookie.
That was so good, I had fun. That's a cookie.
No, I think it's because someone you've known for many years, kind of thing. If you suddenly do a bit of or here's a secret bit, or you've just stepped on that trap kind of thing, you know how they're going to react, kind of thing, and it's easier to do the little trickery bits with them and whatnot, and because they at the same time know you're highly likely they're going to know that you're not out to get them, or at least they'll be able to actually have that conversation with you if they feel like you are. With someone you don't know, I think you've got that bit of saying, I don't know how you're going to react. Are you going to be a bit more of a rules lawyer? Are you going to be unknowing, never played before kind of thing, and need a bit of a hand on the shoulder potentially, kind of a bit more guidance? Or are you going to be full of questions? And I think whenever I play with people who are new to the game or I haven't interacted before, I like to try and lay out everything early on, in a one shot, kind of spend that first 10 minutes of just being in one kind of a very small session 0 at the start of like a one shot, to say these are the rules, these are the yeses, these are the nos kind of thing. Like when you crit, what happens on a nat 20 as such, make sure you know on a nat 1 what happens as well, so that the basic key bits are covered, and then anything else that comes up, which is a bit of a, oh, can we do this and this, and then it'd be a bit more of a, you know what, we'll play it by ear to see what the situation is. But if it's something quite fun, imaginative, and creative, and it's like, you know what, most of the time, yeah. But maybe, I don't know, if I've known them 10 years and they kind of say, oh, we're both druids and we want, we could turn into wolves, so we want pack tactics next to each other. I'm like, yeah, but you aren't wolves right now, are you, kind of thing? You're still just two humans stood next to each other. So
knowing whether or not they can take just sometimes when you need to just say, sorry, no. Can I seduce this dragon? What, the one which is currently literally ripping your friend to pieces? Probably not.
Oh no, but when someone says, can I seduce a dragon, you say, sure, go for it. Oh, nat 20. I go, brilliant. Now flip a coin. Tails. Oh, you're bottom.
jokes on us, they like that.
Yeah, I think it's one of those as well. And I think a key thing about being DM is not saying no to everything, not saying yes to everything, but also at the same time making sure, running it through, going, if they roll a nat 20 on this, would that actually succeed?
Yeah, you've got to. Don't even give them the chance to roll if what you think is they could roll a nat 20 and the thing you don't want to happen happens. You have within your rights to say, this isn't going to work, maybe try a different solution, and try and intonate that rather than straight up tell them. Unless you know them well enough to be like, look, that's a stupid idea, do what you should do. But if there is a chance where like that could happen, then that's when obviously you bring the dice into play and you set a DC and you have to live with the consequences. And those are the kind of micro decisions that you have to make as a DM. But it's a great job to have. It's a great thing to do with your friends. It feels really good, even when it sometimes doesn't go as you planned. As long as your friends are having fun and you're having fun, it's one of the best things in the world, I think.
I think that's it, and it's kind of going, for example, you're walking down the corridor of a castle with 2 guards, and someone says, I want to cast invisibility and disappear from them. And it's a bit like, okay, but those 2 guards know they've got 4 people with them. They've counted you, they've walked you in, kind of thing. Yeah. If you just cast invisibility right now, and one of them's going to look over their shoulder because it's a verbal spell. They're going to notice one of you is invisible.
Yeah. Or even just the signs of casting magic. Like these people live in a world where magic is just a thing, objectively. Yes, it's rare. But if they go far enough into the mountains, there are just dragons which can eat them. And they know this, and they probably can spot and have experienced someone at some point catching a spell. So when you start throwing your hands around and speaking in a language you don't normally speak, they're going to be like, hang on, I'm getting my weapon out because something's about to go down.
But then I say the other side to say exactly that. But if you can give me a plot point, maybe 2 or 3 characters work together, where one makes a distraction, another does something and clatters into something, the third one does it and then makes enough of a ruckus or something that maybe they can get a major image out of the person or something to maybe make the guards go, well, okay, right, let's carry on. And enough, maybe it needs 3 or 4 checks over 15 kind of thing, and you've got to hope the luck of the dice are with you. And that maybe we then roll for the guard's perception. Oh, you're going to try and convince them that actually was 3. That's going to be a high check kind of thing. But that's when I'd start going, yeah, go on. It's going to be tough, but if you succeed, well done. Also, there's going to be consequences to your actions if you don't, because the guards aren't just going to go, don't do that, slap you on the wrist and keep walking. Yep. They might put a sword to your throat kind of thing and say, right, keep going kind of thing.
And they should, and they will, because they're guards, and this is their whole job. If some guy's going to threaten their one thing that they're paid to do, they're going to take some action.
But I see, my aim is that when I do something like that is to try and get people around the table to go, right, how do we do this? Not, oh, let's just roll the dice. It's, what's your character actually doing? What's the actual scenario that's occurring? And how can you and your party use your talents, your skills and abilities to get around this?
That's the thing, isn't it? And knowing what your character can do is so much part of the thing. Mentioned in passing our first times ever DMing, and I've got quite a story there. So
Yes,
some of our friends, we've named them before in the podcast, I think, but Carl was one of them. James was a few of them. Got all of our friends together, but I went from having never DM'd in my life, but having watched Critical Role, where they have a group of like 8 people, to being like, well, obviously it's for 8 people. So I ended up with like myself and I think 9 players, all playing in my very first game, having 0 experience of playing the game. They all wanted to play magic casters, and then when I showed them like the spellcasting system, they were all like, "No, we're gonna play martial characters now." On the day of playing the very first game, everyone had to just redesign whole characters because everyone chose they were going to be like fancy elven spellcasters, and they were like, "No, I just want to hit someone with the sword now because that looks too complex." Yeah, and so one of the characters, I think she doesn't want to be named, but one of our friends was playing a fighter. She had a hand axe. I didn't know hand axes had a ranged thing, so I was like, okay, you can roll it, but it's going to be a hard DC. I didn't realise they already had a ranged attack thing within the mechanics of the game, so I fumbled there immediately. She rolled a nat 1, dropped the hand axe, ran out of the session and cried, and her and her boyfriend never played with us again.
Oh. Yeah.
So I learned quite a few hard lessons on my first time ever DMing to have a session 0, which I never did because I never heard of them at that point because I just watched Critical Role and things and they just started playing the game, because obviously they did that sort of stuff off stream.
Chris, what is a session 0? What would you call a session 0 then?
So it's kind of a tutorial game. It's when you get together, either you have a meeting and you talk about how the game's going to take place, the rule sets you're going to be playing with, and you don't roll any dice. Usually it's better if you build characters at the time together, so you all have some sort of interconnected tissue already. You maybe come across 1 or 2 like collective NPCs that you've had run-ins with, that within the DM can run into the game. You have some idea of the sort of patron that's going to be giving you the quest and sort of general vibe of the campaign. So whether it's going to be like a political intrigue campaign, if it's going to be like a heist-based campaign where you go in and steal something, or whether it's just going to be a normal sword and sorcery campaign.
Traditional.
Yeah. European stereotypical fantasy type situation, or if you're going to be, 3 demon hunting bard ladies going up against a single main antagonist with, another group of bands. So
what I really liked, Chris, when you invited me into your game was, you knew I'd played, you knew I was done quite a bit. I wouldn't have any issue with getting in and actually rolling and getting into character. Was you kind of said, well, what would I like to happen as such? Is there anything in particular I would like to come up in the story? Any events and whatnot? So I go, immediately, I'm joining an already ongoing campaign, but you've made me feel like there's going to be a part that I've selected that's made for me already integrated kind of thing. And I'm not just joining someone else's journey and just tagging along.
No, because I think that's the problem with my own very limited experience of 4th edition with strangers on the internet. Was I was joining a already established party of people I'd met online. They'd already been playing the game. I was like, okay, what can I do? They're like, well, you're going to be a human fighter. Okay. And then I kind of just basically sat and watched as an observer for most of it, and then got a few turns in where I just went in and hit something. I didn't have any sort of agency in the story and my character, and I think that's like, if it's a shared experience for everyone, then everyone should have a hand in it, right? Everyone should be like, is my mission in this game is to slay a god. Okay, how am I going to work that into the campaign? Obviously it's a long-term ambition, but if it's what your character wants to do, then let's try and make it happen.
Yeah.
But then if you're I want to make a god, I can be like, well, I can understand why you want to make a god. We're kind of playing a political intrigue, investigate the royal family and work out what their tax policy is sort of campaign. Maybe gods might not come up as much, but we can try. So
can always see something you got squeezed in, yeah.
it's a shared experience, and it should be a shared experience because that's when it's at its best. And you shouldn't be telling people how to play their character and what their character wants to do. And you shouldn't be saying that's not going to work here. Otherwise, you shouldn't have invited these people in the first place. That's what I think.
No, I think that's part of the beauty of it is you can get 5 people together and you can have your kind of traditional, there's my tank, my fighter barbarian, there's my healer cleric, there's my spellcaster, there's my druid and my rogue, and make it fleshed out. Every ability is managed, every skill is accounted for, and expertise is all over the place. And you go, yeah, we got well-rounded, and it's like, that's great. You can also go and be 5 halfling bards.
Yeah.
And both campaigns in that sense will work both fantastically because they're trying to do different things. And that's the beauty.
Have a session 0, or if you're already in a campaign, like you said, we kind of had our own session 0 in the middle, in the run up to it. Like, okay, we're going to be playing on this date, we're going to be playing this sort of game. What do you want to see? What kind of characters do you think would fit within this group? These are the characters that are already there. We have a human, we've got an old rogue. Those are the sorts of characters. What do you think you have in your locker that could come and either mix things up or add to the party? Or do you want to just go another human druid and just have that whole hang on, where is that design sort of thing? Because there's merits to all of those. They all sound really fun and interesting.
It's you mentioned Critical Role kind of thing, and I think Critical Role is fantastic. I think Matt Mercer is one of the best DMs out there by a long way. They obviously have the advantage that all of their players are professional voice actors, can really dive into their characters well, and they have played together for a very long time. But even in that, you look at their campaign 1 and go, they had twins. They had Vax and Vex, twin half-elves kind of thing, that a big part of the story was their connection and their background and stuff. So even on that, with some of the most diverse and people able to cover such a wide amount of talent and different voices and behaviours, they still picked 2 people with exactly the same background.
And so it was so, successful that there's literally books about, they're called Kith and Kin, the 2. But in Vax's book, they've got a book, they've got comic books, all these things just can't stem from them saying we have the same birthdays, so let's play the same character. And that's really cool.
It's, I think,
you mentioned Critical Role there. Obviously, campaign 4 is coming up, so I made the logical choice to start High Rollers from the very beginning, from 9 years ago. So I'm just getting into that.
It is. I really liked Critical Role through campaign 1. That really kind of got me into the whole D&D world because it's kind of a very stereotypical campaign. It is a bunch of mercenaries kind of come together, adventurers, want to do good. There's a lot of dragons, there's a lot of killing, and some great plot twists and backgrounds coming to life. Campaign 2 was where I fell in love with it. The Mighty Nine. And just suddenly this...
I'm going to push myself and come up with some weird little funky guys. I love all of them. Caleb's one of my favourites.
The Dirt Wizard.
Yeah, I mean, Not's just great. Ford.
Jester's fantastic.
Ford's great.
Ford, Jester, they're all good.
Yeah. Yash is great, although she's barely there. She's great. They're all great. Yeah, and it definitely got me into the hobby, or at least reintroduced the hobby to me after I had spent some years pretending to be a normie,
But I say, it's. I think the person who thrives amongst all of that is the DM. It is Matt Mercer. So he's not campaigning. Campaign 4. No, that goes.
Also amazing.
He's amazing on Dimension 20, which is quite different to Critical Role. Incredibly chaotic in comparison, but still fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I say, Chris, if Matt can get out from behind the table, I think we need to get you out from behind the table as well.
That'll be nice. If you're up for doing some DM, I'd love to play an actual character on stream.
I'm definitely up for doing some DMing, my friend. Definitely.
I know our good friend Dave was going to put together a undead themed survival horror campaign. we're trying to figure out whether that's best on this system or if there's other Grim Dot systems that we could use to branch out from D&D into other TTRPGs. I know, it's crazy.
Other TTRPGs are available.
Other TTRPGs are available, and of course we are making one currently. The RPG for tabletop for teachers. I'm working on that still behind the scenes, trying to get that out within this academic school year, so that it's live to be on shelves in the next academic year. So hang tight for that, guys. Work on that is ongoing.
That will be interesting, definitely.
Anything else that we had for this afternoon's conversation? I think we've touched all the bases that we were going to touch on, wasn't it? Unless you've got one or two more.
Yeah, I mean, the only real question I got left, Chris, and it wasn't on the list, is how have you found being a DM, kind of thing? What would you, if someone said to you, what it's like, should I be a DM? What would you say?
Yes, you absolutely should. You should get together with your friends and play any TTRPGs. Play D&D. It's a really good first off. It's very. It is a boilerplate fantasy setting. It's not too deep in the lore and stuff. There are very much fantastical elements. There are dragons. There are giants. There are things in the world which are crazy and kooky, like arbaleths and mind flayers. So there is some really spicy ingredients, but the sauce is quite tame and it's quite suited for everyone, which is why it's probably the best-selling one of all time. So start with that and get together with some friends. Pick up a module, play it. If you like playing it and you think, I can make this my own, do it. I wouldn't advise first-time DMs to do what I did and start with the world and work back from that. I would start small, maybe with a single village, maybe with, as I say, a module, but then you maybe think what's just outside the boundary of this map that's here? Can I add my own things there? Could I have a mountain made of glass where sheep have 10 eyes? You know, I always ask myself, look at the edges of the map and ask myself questions. I think that can lead to some interesting things. Do that, play the game, fall in love with it, and then we can play together.
No, exactly what you just said there, man. And the only thing I would add to that is it can be scary. The idea of it pressuring on you, it can be a lot. Do it. Absolutely go for it. Say that first 10-15 minutes is a bit, but after you get into it, you will absolutely love it because it's your world, your control, your monsters, your villages, your people. It's your chance to put your story down, and you get to do all the things behind the screen. All the times you hear those dice roll and you don't know what's happening, you get to know what's happening. So,
and you've got to remember as well, most people are just there for themselves. Everyone's the main characters in their own story. Everyone's kind of just waiting for their turn. So make sure everyone gets a turn. Make sure everyone has some of the spotlight. Make sure everyone adds something to the game, because if they're saying, I want to fight a Medusa, and you haven't got a Medusa there, they're going to get bored. Put Medusa in it. Doesn't have to be who you think it is. It could be the owner of the bar, and then you mess her up one time, and she turns you to stone. Because that's an amazing jaw-dropping moment for everyone. And those are the kinds of things that you want to see as a DM. You want to... If you can get to the point where you can just sit and watch, and everyone's just doing their own thing, that is an amazing feeling. Likewise, if you can get to the point where you've sprinkled in a little spice, someone picks it up, they do something which triggers something, that feeling of I got you, and everyone going whoa, that's like one of the best feelings of ever.
Yeah. I just want to take a second as well to say thank you to every DM I've ever had. You've all been absolutely fantastic. I've loved every story and journey I've played with you guys. You're worth your weight in gold. You absolutely, all of you are. You know who you are. You're all fantastic, and you all deserve all the good things. It really had.
Be nice to your DM. Bring snacks. Tell them they did a good job. Even if
I wasn't including this. I wasn't including.
Every DM is open to constructive feedback as well. If you say, okay, that session we didn't do quite what I wanted to do, give them feedback. Preferably keep things positive, maybe a praise sandwich. It was really good when this happened. I didn't quite like it when this happened, but the vibe was really good and I had lots of fun. That'd be perfect. Go for something like that. Your DMs will appreciate it. Similarly, don't look at your phone when it's not your turn, Just try and be present. I've struggled to be present in a conversation which I planned apparently because there's a mosquito over there. But try your very best to be present in the room. Don't look at your phone. Look at your friends. Look at what they want to do. Jump in where you think it's narratively acceptable, and your DM will appreciate that too, because they want to give you a good experience. So help them give you a good experience.
I think that's it. At the end of the day, in the game, it may feel like you're against the DM because you're in combat or whatnot against them, but overall, you're playing with them. They want you to enjoy their story, and the more you can work with them, the more you can share with them, the more they will make that happen, and the more the world expands. Is that?
And DMs, don't worry about fudging your rolls. If you know, you know. If you need to, you need to. If you want to be honest with your players and you know them left and if there's like 5 HP left, you can be like, look, there's 5 HP, like you can kill this guy in 1 hit, just hit him. There's nothing wrong with that. I do it all the time with my friends, Stu knows. I'm like, can you do less than 2 damage in this hit? No? Okay. Roll your dice. If you hit, it's dead.
Yeah.
Move on. Make it easy for yourself. Try not, if you've got a monster with loads and loads of HP and it's dragging on, they don't know how much HP it's supposed to have. Maybe it's a weakened version of that monster, and this is the warm-up fight for a bigger fight later on. It wasn't supposed to, but it is now, if it works for you.
No, exactly, mate, exactly. Doesn't all have to be by the book. It can be whatever helps your story flow.
No, even if you have got a Rose Lawyer in your party and it's like, well, actually, a Medusa has 65 hit points. Like, well, what? This Medusa Sunshine? Wait until you fight the real Medusa, which has 650 HP. Then what, you're going to be a Rose Lawyer in Sunshine.
Absolutely love it, mate. Love it, love it, love it.
That's been a healthy conversation there, mate. Thank you very much for that. We've not played a game this week.
No.
Great chat. The first time ever we've done a DM-focused conversation. There's only been a few voices in my head saying, do something fun and funny now. You know, it's been fine. I've been enjoying it. It's been really good. Yeah, it's been really good.
DMs need the attention. So, you know, the games don't happen without the DMs.
The games cannot happen without a DM. We've tried to play a PvP game without a DM, without some sort of arbitrary rules. It's chaos. You end up just saying, well, my character could do 500 fire points of damage, so deal with it. It happens. You need a DM. And DMs need you, the players, to have a nice time and let them know that they're doing a good job.
Completely.
Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Stu, for the conversation. Much love. We are going away now.